Alrighty then, we are back with you live once again with another Johnny Torch live broadcast, number 127, Torch News Roundup number 117. We bring to you tonight at 6:30 in the p.m., at least in my time zone here on the East Coast in the New England area. Wherever you are and whatever you are doing, I hope you are having a good time. And of course, you could be having dinner right now like I should be having, but instead you are here with me listening to Johnny Torch Live. And we're going to talk about some of the stuff that's going on here. I try to do videos Saturdays and Wednesdays. Usually the Torch News Roundup will land on a Saturday, but we have the Captain Marvel trailer and some other things we're going to be talking about in Marvel's in the MCU district, so to speak. We also have a general overview of what's going to be coming up with the MCU at large. I kind of want to get into that a little bit, but not a whole lot here tonight on the show. I want to make sure I get a couple of videos out before Christmas because, as I've said several times before, over the years, I always put out this disclaimer that I am extremely busy in December, and I am not going to be able to get too many real in-depth videos out near the end of the month particularly. So I want to see if I can get a couple of good, sizable videos out early in the month of December. I'm still trying to find good software that's going to let me do edited videos again. I must have tried a half dozen. My most recent attempt was to get Windows Movie Maker Live back and to just use the format that I know. And with the new computer I have, it wouldn't accept the audio files or something, and it was another failure. I'm trying another one now that is completely a waste of time, it seems, but I'm going to keep working on that and see what happens. But so we have a few stories to talk about tonight, and we're going to try to get to them right now. Now, first off, a little bit of housekeeping here. We've got another poll of the week question. We had one. I don't know where it is right now. After like the first 3 or 4 days, I don't keep referring back to it, but I retweet them the first 3 or 4 days in a row just to, try to keep it at the top of the Twitter page. But we have a new Twitter question here, and if you look in the link in the description below there, you'll find my link to my website, The Adventures of Bullets Bourbon Private Eye, my comic book, which is still in the process of being printed. Of course, it's going to take a couple of days, probably another week, I would guess. Usually what happens is I wait 10 days, and, as they say, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. I usually email them and say, can you hurry it up a little bit? And then they'll usually start production on it. But I got to wait at least a week, 10 days before I start complaining because they kind of take their time over there. Okay, so the poll of the week question this week is, who is your favorite junior superheroine? Because it occurs to me we have a lot of young female superheroes on television today, and, we really don't give them enough, airtime here to sort of pay tribute to them. Here at the end of the season, at the end of the year, I kind of like to do as many polls as possible, sort of like best of this of the year, best that of the year. But all right, so this is your favorite junior superheroine, which means basically under 21. And we have a number of contenders here for the crown. First, we have Olivia Holt, who played Dagger in Cloak and Dagger this past year. Natalie Allen Lind, a little tongue-tied there, as Lauren Strucker from The Gifted. She was also Silver St. Cloud in Gotham, right? That's right, that's where she got her start. China Anne McClain as Lightning, Jennifer from Black Lightning. Cameron Bicondova as Selena Kyle, aka Catwoman from Gotham. So there are your 4 choices. So far we have 41 votes, which is a pretty decent representation. I try to get more than that. That's about the lowest I probably could get. But let's see. With 41 votes and 3 days left, you still have plenty of time to make your vote count. and we will take them from fourth place up. In fourth place, and this is a very close race, particularly. It's jumped up and down all over. I think the lady in first place has a pretty sizable lead at this point, but the second, third, and fourth place has been pretty close all along. In fourth place, with 19% of the vote, we have Cameron Bykundova. In a very close race here for third place, with 20% of the vote, China Ann McLean from Black Lightning. So she got a small percentage win there over Cameron, but with a slightly more sizable lead over both of them, with 24% of the vote, Natalie Allen Lind in second place. And with 37% of the vote in first place, Dagger herself, Olivia Holt. So she's got a sizable lead at this point, but as I said, with 3 days left to vote, if you're listening to this, at least on the day it's being recorded, December 5th, you got plenty of time to cast your vote. Just head on to my Twitter page. You can find the link in the description below, or you can just type in my name, Johnnie IE, Johnnie IE, that's very important, underscore torch, and you will find my Twitter page. Okay, so once again, thank you for joining us. With all of that out of the way, let's take a look at some of the stories we have on tap for you today. And the first one we're going to get to is, let's see. All right. Let's see. The Joker movie, starring Joaquin Phoenix, has apparently wrapped production, and they released a video, a little video clip, or it was a behind the scenes clip that somebody took on set, that I don't know if it was authorized, of Joaquin Phoenix in full costume doing a little, I don't know, dance number or something, just goofing off, I think, on the set. I don't think it's necessarily something that's going to be in the movie. And here he is, sort of waving away the fans, a big farewell to the shooting. I have no idea how this is going to turn out. It's going to either be the biggest disaster ever set on celluloid, or it might be pretty good. I don't know. We'll have to see. That's the only way we'll find out. We have to wait and see. All right, let's see. According to the article here, the Daily Mail shared some photos from the set, which features Phoenix as both Arthur Fleck and his clown Prince of Crime alter ego. The Academy Award nominee posed for a series of snaps as the Joker before shooting a scene as Fleck on a steep stairway in Brooklyn. Zazie Beetz was seen walking away from him with a small child, presumably her character's daughter. Production is now wrapped on Warner Brothers and director Todd Phillips' Joker movie, starring Joaquin Phoenix and Zazie Beetz, filmed in the streets of New York. So, I don't know. Again, there you have it. If you have any, if you have any thoughts about how this is all going to play out, this Joker movie, this Joker origin movie, be sure to give me all your speculations and, just wild, rampant speculations that you have about the film. What is it going to be about? Is it sort of an Elseworlds movie? Is this going to be sort of, is this like a precursor to the Joker? I've heard that as a rumor going around as well, that sort of what they did in Gotham, where there was, several incarnations of the Joker before we got what I guess is the final Joker incarnation they're going to give us on Gotham, which was Jeremiah. I don't know. You're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to find out. But let me know your speculations below in the comments. And there we go. We bid farewell to Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker. All right, now this news story here really threw me for a loop, knocked me completely for a loop. I had no idea that this was even a thing, but apparently they are planning a Snake Eyes spin-off film. They had made two G.I. Joe movies to, I don't know, I want to say moderate reaction, moderate success, I guess. And there's no word if Ray Park is going to reprise the role, which I don't see why he wouldn't. He did the last two films, and he was a a really spectacular part of those films. His mastery of martial arts is really best suited for the character. I can't see anybody else doing quite as good a job. But according to this story, during the summer, news broke that Paramount Pictures and Allspark were planning to develop a G.I. Joe spin-off for Snake Eyes, who was widely considered to be the most popular character on the Joe roster. The Hollywood Insider, no, excuse me, the Hollywood Reporter, they always do that shorthand, THR, and I'm like, what is that? The Hollywood Insider? No, that's the Hollywood Reporter, right? All right. The Hollywood Reporter reports that a director has been hired. Robert Schwanke, Schwanky, he's a schwanky director, all right. Who directed two installments of the Divergent film series, as well as Red and R.I.P.D. Remember that clunker? Will helm the movie. Doesn't particularly instill me with confidence, but as I read that, the Divergent film series, Red and R.I.P.D. director. So yeah, there you have it. That's interesting. Now, of course, common sense would say this is probably going to be an origin film. I don't know because you have a character that doesn't speak. Now, I would hope this isn't an origin film. We saw some of his origin, I think, in the first GI Joe film, and I don't know. I mean, I would love to see them have Scarlet in it. Rachel Nichols, bring her back. She was awesome as Scarlet. She's gorgeous, of course, as well. And part of the thing of the GI Joe lore is sort of her off and on again relationship with both Duke and Snake Eyes. So that would probably be a great place to you know put her. Although Duke isn't around anymore because Channing Tatum was unceremoniously offed to make room for The Rock in GI Joe Retaliation, which I was never particularly comfortable with. I don't think you kill off Duke. He's especially Channing Tatum was supposed to be a name actor. Why would you kill off a name actor when you could probably get, you say what you want about Channing Tatum, but he's a name actor, and to sort of just kill him off unceremoniously in the first 10, 15 minutes of that film was, I think, a major mistake. All right, let's see what else we got here. The script from Beauty and the Beast screenwriter Evan Stapakoulos. That sounds like a very bad skin condition. Doctor, I've got some pretty bad spiltoculosis. It's true, but that's his name. So Evan, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to make fun of your name, but I guess I kind of am. Evan Spiltoculosis is said to focus. I don't know if that's the way you pronounce it. So apologies to Evan Spiltoculosis. But Evan Spiltoculosis is said to focus. I don't know if I can get through this. All right, one more time. Let's try. Screenwriter Evan Spiltoculosis is said to focus on the early days of the silent masked warrior as he attempts to join the ranks of the ninja clan known as Arastolik. Why are they giving me these tongue twisters today? The ninja clan known as Arastolik. I don't know. I don't know. I'm definitely saying that wrong. But again, yeah, that looks like it's going to be an origin film. So I don't know. That doesn't sound all that exciting to me. Personally, I would rather see Evan Stapakoulos do a Scarlet and Snake Eyes team up. Throw Jinx in there. Maybe she was the girl that played Elektra, right, in the Netflix Daredevil, and Arastikage. Yeah, the ninja clan known as Arastikage. Okay, learn phonics with Johnny Torch. The Snake Eyes movie will be part of a new shared universe, which will also incorporate other Hasbro properties. Now, this is interesting. I heard that they wanted to do this several times, but I honestly think this is going to be a mistake because you know how hard it is to do a shared universe? Just look at the Universal Monsters. They wanted to make a Universal Monsters uh, spin-offs and shared universes and stuff. And that should be arguably easy to do because Universal did that back in the 40s. They did that in the 30s and 40s. They had the Frankenstein monster, Wolfman, Dracula, all in the same movie, and so on and so forth. So that shouldn't be difficult to do, but they still couldn't pull it off. They did Dracula Untold or something like that, and that wasn't successful, and so they abandoned that one. And then they did the Mummy remake with Tom Cruise, and that wasn't successful, and they abandoned that. Now they kind of don't know what they're going to do. I think there's still plans for Bride of Frankenstein, which is strange without Frankenstein already having a movie. And I think they got Johnny Depp for Invisible Man, supposedly still those two films are in the works, but it's not easy to do. And when you're going to try to do G.I. Joe, the only other franchise I think that would probably cross-pollinate well would be Transformers. And Transformers really has been tapped out ever since what Michael Bay did to it. I mean, there's gonna be a Bumblebee movie, and I guess Optimus Prime's gonna be in it, which is cool because yeah, I was always a big Optimus Prime fan. But I don't know. I think you're asking too much to try to cross-pollinate both of them. Let's see what it says here. They will also incorporate other Hasbro properties such as Visionaries. Sounds familiar. I don't remember. Mask, Mobile Armored Strike Command, which yeah, I remember that. That was kind of cool as a kid. They were like Micronauts sized. They were like little tiny toys. And I remember for Christmas, Santa gave me the big mobile base or whatever it was there, then had like a rock on the top of a volcano or something that came down. I used to have fun with that, but I knew nothing about Mask. So if it has a very strong fan base or rich lore, I have no idea. And Rom. Now, Rom, I remember Rom somewhat from the comics. He was a fledgling action figure, I think, that Marvel made a deal to do some kind of um, multimedia thing back in those days. Basically, multimedia things for you know for comics were a little bit different. I mean, you made the action figure and you made the comic, and you hoped you could spin it off into something else, but really nothing else ever came of Rom. I think I don't remember if this is the case, but I think that the story behind Rom is he was built by some ancient civilization, was the last of his kind, and kind of roamed the cosmos as a sort of an unspeaking automatron that was kind of trying to sort of like the Silver Surfer, only with less, poetic and theological trappings. An untitled Hasbro event film, which will arrive. Oh wait, I skipped a line. Excuse me. Paramount has already set release dates for Micronauts. We were just talking about Micronauts. That's another thing. That's another thing that Marvel tried to get into. They made action figures for Micronauts when I was very young. I barely remember this, but they had like these little action figures, and you were supposed to. I don't know. I think that the deal was they shrunk in the comic, and I don't know. I don't remember, but they lived like in a different plane of existence because they were so tiny, and they tried to spin off this action figure line into a major comic book. Didn't really work out too well, but apparently they got a Micronauts film set for October 16th, 2020. Dungeons and Dragons for July 23rd, 2021. I was never particularly into Dungeons and Dragons. That never really did anything for me. I remember the cartoon was on when I was a kid. Never really got into it. I had the color forms, which for some reason I remember having more fun with because I don't know. I just like sort of rebranded it as something else. I don't know. My imagination ran wild even then as a kid, and I just had it as my own. I don't know, sword and sorcery story. And an untitled Hasbro event film, which will arrive October 1st, 2021. So they got something planned for Hasbro. Some kind of shared universe film, I guess, will be the first shared universe film, October 1st. Again, I don't know. I don't know if this is a good idea. I don't know why you would do this, to be totally honest with you. According to Deadline, all right. So, next up, let's see. We have the big news of the week, which everybody is extremely excited about. The Shang-Chi MCU major motion picture. The Shang-Chi motion picture. Now, for those of you who don't know Shang-Chi, get in line because I am not too well versed with the character either. Basically, from what I remember as a kid, he came out in the 70s, before my time. But when I was a kid, I seen this picture, and that's why I chose this picture. This picture was in every comic book from the late 70s, maybe the mid 70s to late 70s, all the way up to like maybe 1982. And they highly promoted Shang-Chi in his own series, The Master of Martial Arts, to sort of be their answer to Bruce Lee. And that was the appeal because, the martial arts films of Bruce Lee and stuff at that time were still very popular. Sort of the same way they were smart back in those days. They brought Iron Fist kind of had the same beginnings as sort of an answer to the martial arts implosion of the 70s, and Luke Cage, of course, was an answer to the blaxploitation movies that were really popular then, Shaft and some of those others. So they came up with Shang-Chi to sort of be, kung fu was very popular on TV at the time, the television series. So they tried to do a kung fu character, a master of kung fu as a character in the Marvel universe. He didn't have a secret identity, and it wasn't, a superhero per se. And that's pretty much why I wasn't interested as a kid. I never really sought out Shang-Chi. But now the powers that be think it's about time that Shang-Chi gets his own major motion picture in the MCU. I think his name was tied to the Iron Fist Netflix series for a time, but apparently they didn't want him. Marvel didn't want him on the Netflix series because now they're planning to do something with him in the movies. All right, so let me read. Now this is the official write up from Deadline. The project is being fast tracked with Wonder Woman 1984 writer Dave Callahan on board to pen the screenplay. With Black Panther director Ryan Coogler and a predominantly black cast managed to tap into African and African American culture with great success, Marvel is hoping Shang-Chi will follow a similar path by introducing a new hero who blends Asian and Asian American themes crafted by Asian and Asian American filmmakers. The studio is said to be looking at a number of Asian and Asian American actors for the project. Now, see, this is kind of the thing now. We're talking about the MCU going forward. Now, I have no problem with them making a Shang-Chi motion picture. When I was a kid, I just remember him as a co-star. He wasn't wildly successful on his own. He teamed up with Heroes for Hire several times. He was always running in the same circles as Iron Fist. One of my all-time favorite Spider-Man comics, Marvel Team Up, involved Shang-Chi because Marvel Team Up was smart in those days. They took the most popular character they had, which was Spider-Man at the time. I think it's probably still Spider-Man. He was eclipsed by X-Men like for the 90s and some of that time. But they took Spider-Man and they would team him up with whatever heroes they kind of wanted to push. And Shang-Chi was like the up and comer. And so they pushed him with Spider-Man a couple times. One of my favorite stories was the Spider-Man team up. It was this mega team up like in the late 70s with Black Widow, Nick Fury, Shang-Chi, and was there another character? I can't remember. I think that's it. But Shang-Chi was honestly the least interesting part of that story, even though it was one of my favorite stories of all time regarding Spider-Man. It was written by Chris Claremont, who, of course, is so good at these characters. And in fact, he wrote many of them. And even when they weren't trying to push a particular hero, they would just take somebody, Invisible Woman, and put her with Spider-Man. And he would always do a great job, Chris Claremont, in taking these like characters that you wouldn't imagine could work well together and work them well together. He did that for many years. It was around the time he was doing X-Men too, which was amazing that he had the time to do all that. So let's take a look at what this says here. I'm not too familiar with Shang-Chi. That's what I'm trying to say. That's basically the main point of this conversation. So, according to the write-up, it says Shang-Chi is the son of Fu Manchu. That's a familiar sounding name. I guess maybe it's the Marvel version of Fu Manchu. I don't know. and his considerable martial arts skills earn him the title Master of Kung Fu. He has been a member of the Avengers and Heroes for Hire. Well, I knew he had something to do with Heroes for Hire. Apparently, the script will modernize the hero to avoid stereotypes that many comic characters in the era were saddled with. Okay, okay, here we go now. What could they possibly object to with Shang-Chi? He was basically a martial artist. Now, I guess they're not going to have Fu Manchu probably have much to do with it. I don't know the background. Or if they have Fu Manchu in it, it's not going to look like Fu Manchu as per the Fu Manchu beard or something. I don't know. I don't know what people are offended by these days. You know what I mean? We couldn't have the Mandarin in because he was going to look quote unquote like Fu Manchu. Forget about the fact that, he had power rings, was the most powerful guy, had alien technology at his disposal. You could even make him green like they did in the cartoons of the 90s. But whatever, they just had to completely throw the character by the wayside. This probably would be a cool place to bring him back if you're going to have an Asian actor portray the Mandarin. Maybe we were allowed to do that as long as Shang-Chi is the hero, and then maybe bring in a Tony Stark cameo. I don't know, but this is it's just not interesting to me. I don't see how MCU is going to go forward when you have, honestly, we're at the D-listers now. We're at the D-listers. We're not even at the C-listers anymore. I think the C-listers are Captain Marvel. We're going to get to her in just a second, but the C-listers are Black Panther, and we're at that point still. The B-listers were maybe Doctor Strange. He's kind of a classic, goes back to the 60s. Can't really say that he's that popular. And the B-listers were, as they famously always tout, the Avengers were basically the B team. Nobody really thought of Iron Man, Thor. I would argue Captain America was always an A-lister, but some would say, for the sake of argument, that Captain America was a B-lister. The A-listers were Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, Hulk, and they tried to do something with those characters in other studios, and it didn't work out. And Marvel Studios was left what was considered the B team. So if we're going to be generous, we have to say that Shang-Chi is honestly a C team member, if not D team member. He's a C-list uh, character. So this is what we get to look forward to going forward. I am seriously hoping that we are going to get confirmation after Avengers 4 that, or maybe with Avengers 4, that we are not going to be saying goodbye to Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, because in one form or another, they need to continue to exist. Instead of announcing a Shang-Chi movie, I would hope that we could be hearing about a Fantastic Four movie, or maybe that they'd be doing something with the X-Men characters. Again, nothing against having a Shang-Chi movie, but I don't really get excited. I don't get wildly excited about the concept when he's basically a supporting character at best and was never particularly very interesting at that. So let me know what you think about the Adventures of Shang-Chi, solo motion picture. I don't know how that's going to work out. Let me know if you're excited about it. If you are, I am very happy for you. I think, as it says here, also they're looking for an Asian and Asian American director from their pool to do the Shang-Chi film, to direct the Shang-Chi film. That, of course, is fine. As I said, when they were doing the Black Panther film, I says, yeah, it makes sense to get a black director. When they did Wonder Woman, I said it makes sense to have a female director. So obviously, when you have Shang-Chi, it makes sense to have a Asian or Asian American director. But the fact is, we have to be honest with this. Is this really just where the MCU is heading? Are they going to be just doing, we're going to have the Kamala Khan movie because we need to have a Muslim superhero. We need to have the, well, at least they didn't go with Amadeus Cho to do the Asian superhero because we have the actual Hulk. But are we going to sort of just clutter up the future of the MCU with D-listers for the sake of saying, well, we need to have our female superheroes, so we get Captain Marvel. We need Black Panther as our black hero. We need Shang-Chi as our Asian hero. We need this, that, and the other one to fill the quotas that they've done in the comics, which has led to a large number of fans pushing back and saying, look, we don't want diversity for the sake of diversity. This is the whole Comicsgate credo. You want to give us diversity, that's fine. Let it be organically created and brought about so that we're not going to be forced to have Avengers 5 consist of basically the C-listers, the D-listers, Captain Marvel, Black Panther, and everybody else. You know what I mean? That's not going to attract a whole lot of fans to Avengers 5, 6, and beyond. So I think Marvel, again, I always say in Feige I trust. I think Marvel is smart enough to know that the MCU is not going to continue to exist with merely the C team as the Avengers. They are going to have to bring back, and that's why I even said on Twitter earlier this week that I kind of feel that I'm so sick of Chris Evans grandstanding with leaving the role of Captain America because Captain America is a bigger character than Chris Evans. We need Captain America to continue on, and another actor can fill the role of Captain America as good as Chris Evans is. It's done all the time with Superman. It's done all the time with Batman. It's done all the time with Spider-Man. Some of the actors are better than others, but the character is bigger than the actor. We should not be saying we cannot continue on without Chris Evans. We cannot continue on without Robert Downey Jr. I wish they'd be involved. I hope that they renegotiate and are interested in continuing on. I think it's telling that Chris Evans is the only one making a scene about this because I'm pretty sure RDJ and Chris Hemsworth are interested in staying. RDJ has renegotiated his contract twice, I believe, since the original Phase 1 contract. He renegotiated for Phase 2 and parts of 3, and I think he renegotiated for this current from, I believe, Homecoming on to this point. He's had his third contract renegotiation. So chances are they're going to continue on. It's just Chris Evans, I think, is the one that they're going to have to beg and coddle and try to get him back to do maybe a Secret Wars film, which I believe is something that the Russo brothers have expressed interest in doing. Um, so yeah, let me know what you think about the potential continuation of the MCU going forward. Do we have anything to worry about? Are we going to be saddled with a C team, or are we going to recast or renegotiate the original actors going forward in the MCU? Okay, so all right, let's get to our final story of the night here. We got the Captain Marvel trailer. Captain Marvel returns yet again. I've got some images here, but as usual, when you try to get images, screenshots the day after, or I guess in this case 2 days after, they're not plentiful and the resolution quality is not very good at all. But I'll try to throw up a few here to just show you some of the images. I watched the trailer again. I've seen it probably 3 times, and just frankly, I'm not that enthusiastic. Now, I have to say, just for, put all the cards out on the table. For anybody that hasn't seen my trailer reaction for the first Captain Marvel trailer, go back and check that one out because I was really excited for it and everybody else really wasn't. I think a lot of YouTubers were either of the opinion of it's underwhelming or they did that whole thing that I even spoke out against, which is the why isn't she smiling? Captain Marvel should smile. I don't understand. Are they trying to make her a frumpy face? And along with the whole Brie Larson can't act and she's wooden and has the same expression and blah 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 blah. I don't agree with that at all. I mean, as I've said before, I think a lot of people, you know, Brie Larson is kind of an acquired taste. I think that she rubs people the wrong way. She has a sort of abrasive personality from what I've seen and read of her. And people are going to read that into their reaction to the movie, that they just don't like her, and so they're not going to like the movie. That's fine. You can not like the movie. That is fine. But to say it's because she's so terrible and objectively bad as an actress or because she doesn't smile enough, those are ridiculous complaints, and they are ludicrous to try to, paint this movie as something without even seeing it. So with that out of the way, I'm interested in the Captain Marvel movie. I'm a fan of this character first and foremost. I think the actress is going to do good. She looks great. The problem with for me is this trailer didn't really show us anything we hadn't seen before. I want to be really hyped for the film, and this kind of just made me feel like, all right, sit down and wait for the next trailer because we didn't really see anything here that we didn't see before. Let me just try to go over it a couple of frames here at a time. Let's see. The film. See, I don't know. I can't do this in order particularly, so I don't know. But I know one thing is they traded on a lot of Samuel L. Jackson being in the movie. He says to her, not in this particular scene, but basically that to establish that the Skrulls are the bad guys, the Kree are the warriors, and Carol, Captain Marvel, responds with, "They are heroic warriors, the Kree." And so this goes back to the plot of the film, which is she's um amnesiac. I don't want to say brainwashed because I don't think they are betraying that here, but quite obviously she's been brainwashed by the Kree and doesn't remember anything from the time she was rescued or whatever by the Kree in some kind of crash, because of course she's an Air Force pilot. So that was pretty interesting. Part of it is also they seem to be showing this as like a, a buddy travel movie between uh, Nick Fury and Carol, which I don't really know if that's not really what I go to Captain Marvel for, is to see her as on a buddy road trip with Nick Fury. But yeah, so we get the flashbacks. She's still trying to remember her past as a Air Force pilot. We get the same heavy-handed images of her falling and rising as a child, and I guess as a young adult. It's again, for the people that are trying to find trying to find SJW traits in this film, yeah, there are some of them there. But, is it going to be worse than Spider-Man Homecoming? Eh, I'm hoping not, but I don't think so. I don't think so by this. And we also have Black Panther, which was kind of, I don't know. Black Panther, like I said, I always thought was kind of stereotypical. I I I don't think it was like preaching SJW politics, but I think it was stereotypical for an all black film cast and crew. Kind of, as I said before, kind of having like the throwaway dumb white characters and so on and so forth. It just felt a little too formulaic by the numbers, but I didn't really feel like it was preaching, which is kind of more or less. I don't know. Spider-Man: Homecoming was more problematic to me because they completely stripped everything away from Spider-Man and kind of made it the moral lessons of today and how it's like superior to the original Spider-Man. That's kind of what rubbed me the wrong way. All right, I'm getting off on a tangent here. Let's just get back to this. Okay. All right, we see, and I think it was completely unnecessary, but we see the entire altercation with the Skrull old lady when she beats up the Skrull, so that civilians not in the know will understand exactly what's going on here. It's not, Captain Marvel just for a laugh punching an old lady. The old lady's a Skrull and she fights back. Eh, again, that's probably wasn't necessary, but I guess they have to consider that some idiots out there didn't know what the heck was going on. We get to see the Skrull, I guess Skrull leader. I don't know who this is. I think Ben Mendelsohn is in the film, but I don't think this is him. I'm not sure because he's got a delivery that everyone can recognize. He speaks in quite a certain way, like a sort of a modern Boris Karloff. And quite frankly, he would be easy to spot anywhere. I don't think this is him. At least the Skrull that was speaking, it wasn't him. I think I was hoping to see uh, Ronan the Accuser again. I think we see him briefly from the back, but I don't really know who the antagonist is in this film, seeing as how the Kree apparently brainwashed Carol, but then again, the war with the Skrulls are real, so that they're probably the real enemy. I don't know. Again, maybe because I'm not too up to date with the cosmic side of the Marvel universe, but yeah, I think the Skrulls are the more bad of the two, but they're both bad, basically. That's why I said it was kind of interesting to see that she uh, really steps up and says they're heroic when questioned. And so, yeah, we've got she's bleeding blue blood. She's a blue blood. So they infused her with powers. We're trying to make that very clear, I guess, in this trailer that she has her powers because the Kree altered her body chemistry to quote the opening of the Incredible Hulk. So that's quite interesting. We don't, and they're not going to give us anything about Jude Law's character, who is supposedly everybody is suspecting is Captain Marvel, the original Captain Marvel. Um, I'm guessing they're probably going to fudge that somewhat. I don't think they're going to make. I think they're going to make him Marvel, but I don't think they're going to make him have the exact same relationship that he had with Carol, because it's got to go into that trope of Carol's a heroine on her own. She don't need no man, and so we can't have no romantic overtones between the two. They have one scene together in this trailer, which is uh, I think, what does he say? You're not as smart as you think you are, or you're not as ready as you think you are. I can't remember right now. But again, nothing really that got me too hyped for his character. I don't know. I mean, I'm hoping to see he has a substantive role in this. But we'll see. We'll find out. And let's wrap it up here. We got to see the costume. Again, not the greatest resolution here, or whatever for these pictures, but she's got the Kree outfit on here, the green Kree colors. And again, yeah, that's great. I guess it looks like the comic. I personally, one of my one of my rules of thumb is you never make a beautiful actress look unattractive. And basically this could be anybody. It's not the most flattering helmet, so I don't really get that excited over that. I would prefer to see her face, and I think you're going to see her face for most of the movie. So I'm cool with it. I'm down with it. This is her in action with that outfit on. I guess she has repulsor blasts that come from her hands and not from the costume, I guess. I'm not sure, because she was using those blasts on the train. We get the same train image of her on the train blasting it, which I didn't get an image of that because, like I said, most of this trailer was stuff we'd already seen. And they're either trying too hard to keep, they're playing coy and not show us everything, or they really don't have anything here to work with. Again, not great resolution here for these pictures, but this is the scene of Captain Marvel in battle. Quite obviously CGI, to be honest with you. But again, an exciting scene where she's like taking out spaceships and so on and so forth. So pretty cool, pretty cool. I'm looking forward to this film. Like I said, I'm sort of mildly enthusiastic, not not wildly, but mildly. Again, there's a picture of her powering up in the Captain Marvel outfit there. So, yeah, like I said, I was hoping this trailer would get me a little more excited. I felt it was mostly the same footage from before, except expanded a little bit. Didn't tell us a whole lot about the plot other than what we surmised, that she lost her memory slash was brainwashed by the Kree. And yeah, I'm hoping it's going to be a good one. I'm looking forward to it. Mildly enthusiastic, but enthusiastic nonetheless. Let's see. Also, the MCU here. Marvel has I don't know who's done this. It's Kevin Feige's call, maybe, I don't know, but Marvel has made this Christmas week here, so to speak, for Marvel trailers. So they gave us Captain Marvel's second trailer during the Monday Night Football. Apparently, Avengers 4 was supposed to air today at some point, but the National Day of Mourning for the passing of George Herbert Walker Bush, President 41, has pushed it to Friday. And of course, here at Johnny Torch Live, we offer our condolences to the Bush family. I always admired George Herbert Walker Bush as president. I mean, I certainly would have preferred him to get a second term over Bill Clinton, the embarrassment of the 20th century. But let's not get political here. So apparently, Avengers 4 will drop Friday morning, and Spider-Man Far From Home's first trailer will also drop on Saturday, December 9th. Now, this is according to a tweet by someone called Daniel R. I don't know why news outlets are picking up on this and running with the story as if this guy is some kind of authority, but since they are, I'll pass this on to you. You can check out the Avengers 4 teaser Friday morning, and supposedly also Spider-Man Far From Home's teaser trailer Saturday, December 9th. I've also heard rumor, and I don't have anything to back this up. It's unsubstantiated, so to speak, but apparently Shazam is going to have a trailer as well, dropping sometime, I think, the next week, because they want it out in time for Aquaman to run before Aquaman. So it would probably be next week, I guess, if they're going to do that. So that's it for another stunning, stellar edition of the Torch News Roundup. We also have I just want to, for the briefest of moments, let me address the upcoming Elseworlds that's coming up. The Elseworlds miniseries that begins this Sunday with Supergirl continues on through Monday with Arrow, and then Tuesday will conclude on The Flash. We see at the end of all the episodes this week of The Flash, Arrow, and Supergirl that John Wesley Shipp has returned, of course, as Barry Allen's Flash from the 90s show. And so, just to give my brief analysis of that one final scene, it's great to have Shipp back in the costume. My favorite superhero show, probably my favorite TV series of all time, was the 90s Flash. Broke me up completely when it was canceled after one season on CBS. It inspired me, quite honestly, to be the cartoonist I am. I think that's one of the prime shows that was an inspiration to me to be a writer of fiction and comic books. So this, of course, is a big deal to me. It was great seeing Shipp in the costume again. It was great having the Danny Elfman theme song again. My biggest concern is that since we see, and spoilers if you haven't seen it, but since we see the rest of the planet sort of decimated by the Monitor, I'm very concerned that it's going to be a way for them to sort of address the fact that they're not going to show all the supporting cast from the show. They're not going to show Amanda Pays, Alex Desert, uh, or any of the other characters such as Bellows. I don't know if the actor who plays Sergeant Garfield is still alive, but it would be great to see him again. And the sort of Art Deco 90s style cities and stuff, it would be great to see that. We're not going to see any of that because Earth 90 has been pretty much decimated. And so unless they're going to pull a Superman the movie and have the Flash go back in time and restore everything, I don't think you're going to see that. You're not going to see any of Flash 90's supporting cast or world. I did think it was a nice touch that they showed the decimated bodies of the other heroes, that there were other heroes in Flash, in Flash's Flash 90's world, Earth 90. I think originally the original uh, the idea for the Flash show originally started with they were going to do a team up show, and the Flash was going to be one of them, but it was going to include all different characters, which I believe Doctor Fate was one. The Spectre might have been another. I don't know. I don't remember. I have to dig back into my old catalog to find out what those characters originally were going to be. But Flash was only one, and since they couldn't, they didn't have a budget or time permitting to do all the characters, they focused on the Flash. Uh, Paul Bilson and Danny DeMeo, I believe, were the ones behind that. So anyhow, I'm fully expecting to be disappointed. Not in John Wesley Shipp. I'm sure he's going to portray the Flash to make us all proud. But I'm fully expecting that this is going to let me down. I fully expect that. I'm going on record now saying that they are going to pull a Luke Skywalker from The Last Jedi on The Flash, where he is going to be completely bereft of any friends, family, and colleagues. He is going to be a broken Flash. He is going to be a man alone and will probably rise to the occasion by the end. And I am I'm very much expecting that they are going to kill him off. I am very much expecting they are going to do the Crisis on Infinite Earths ending for Barry Allen, the John Wesley Shipp version, and have him run himself to death. I will be irate if that happens, probably more irate than I was when the show was actually canceled back in 1991. Have the writers and CW heads learned nothing from Disney Star Wars? Most fans don't want to see their childhood heroes die. People didn't react too well to the Star Wars characters dying in the most recent Disney movies. I endured seeing my other greatest hero, Bill Bixby, die in Death of the Incredible Hulk way back when. Basically, that came out the same year, I believe, as the Flash pilot, the Flash television series. And I had to endure that, and I didn't like seeing that either. There was rumors at the time, though, of course, that the Hulk was going to be brought back, and it was going to be called Rebirth of the Hulk, and Bigsby was going to come back. Ferrigno was going to come back as a speaking Hulk. These things never came to fruition, of course, because within a year or so, Bigsby developed cancer, and it just got put to the side until he literally was physically unable to do the role or direct it, because he directed the final film, Death of the Incredible Hulk. So they had to leave Death of the Incredible Hulk as the standing finale of that series, which it really wasn't a fitting ending. It wasn't a horrible movie, but it felt very out of tone with. I mean, I would have liked it if they had continued on, because they'd been able to give us the comic accurate Hulk, the speaking Hulk, and they could have like ushered in a whole new sort of Marvel television side, because we already got the Marvel television version of Thor and Daredevil. But, unfortunately, because of Bigsby's health, he couldn't continue on to do Rebirth of the Hulk. But in the same way here, I'm hoping this will be a fitting chapter of the original 90s Flash that hopefully will reintroduce him into the lore of the multiverse. And maybe we could go forward and try to do some stories with him. Maybe do a mini series on the Wesley Shipp Flash in the next crossover event. That would be cool to continue using him going forward. I unfortunately don't think that's going to happen, that they're going to kill him off. I think that I'm pretty sure, let's put it that way, that they're going to use the Crisis on Infinite Earths ending as a demise for this version of Barry Allen. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's because John Wesley Shipp is not interested in doing a continually ongoing version of this character. It's possible. But let me know what you think in the comments below. If you have any thoughts on, little predictions. What do you think is going to happen to the Flash 90, I should say, on the Elseworlds crossover coming up on, let me see, Sunday, I believe it is. Yeah, coming up on Sunday. It's coming up very soon. So with that, I'm going to bid you all a good evening, and thank you for joining me once again here on the Torch News Roundup, number 117. And as always, I try to do these shows Wednesdays and Saturdays. probably not going to be able to do one this Saturday. That's why I did it today on Wednesday. And of course, like I said, I have a full calendar this month. I've got both my sister's birthdays, I've got Christmas, New Year's, all kinds of stuff that goes on with the holiday season. So I can't really guarantee when the next broadcast will be. But until next we meet, this is Johnny Torch once again reminding you, keep the flame burning brightly, and I'll be with you again real soon.